Welcome back to The Charismatic Voice. I always am transparent with you, and I let you know if I've heard a song before or not. I have heard today's song, but that hasn't stopped literally thousands of you from requesting that I do a deep dive. And I gotta say, after reading some more about the history of this song, I am so excited to do a deep dive and also do some incredible vocal analysis on Dolores's voice. So without further ado, let's get to it. So I need to put out there, I've never seen this music video before. I had no idea actually that the song was about the conflict in Northern Ireland until I read some history about it. And it floored me. I feel like it's going to have so much more impact and meaning because I know that context now. Specifically, I understand this was written after the Warrington bombing, where there were two young boys who lost their lives, in addition to other people being hurt and losing lives as well. And especially knowing that the Cranberries are from Ireland and how that would have impacted them at this time, I'm very excited to see where this music video goes because I understand now that this song is not just a cool vocal trick, it's got so much heft and message behind it. So let's go back to the beginning. That's what this imagery all is about. I've never noticed before how dark the overall tone is in the beginning of this. Uh, it even the first stuff feels hazy dark, and then we get into this stuff that has a lot more aggression in the sound, and it it definitely sets the tone in a way that I feel like I never appreciated until I sat down and intensely started listening to it. One more time from the beginning. Right, there's a lot of loss in this first sound. And this feels like it has pent up anger. Along with loss, actually, in that melody. Gosh, I love what I do. I love it because I am listening to this vocal now for the first time with a magnifying glass, and I love the breaths that she took in there. And I think in passing on a radio, or when you just hear it and you're going by, I've always remarked upon there's like a yodel thing that she does later that's really cool. But I never noticed the seething energy that she has beneath this soft, ethereal sound. It's so intense, yet quiet at the same time. Whoa.
Another head hangs lowly, child is slowly taken.
I'm gonna go back one more time. The way she tosses in this like really tiny ornamentation that I think is coming from probably her background with Irish music, with Celtic music. It's so cool, but I always thought that that was something that was happy. And here it feels bitter. I don't think I've ever heard that kind of ornamentation used in a bitter way. It's fascinating and effective.
Another head hangs lowly, child is slowly taken. And the violence causes silence. Who are we mistaken?
Just listen one more time to those breaths in there. Every way that she can while keeping it quiet, it feels like she's adding intensity. It's like it's a challenge. How do you make it more intense while still being quiet? And this way of accenting with breaths is one of the ways she's adding that intensity.
And the violence causes silence. Who are we mistaken?
Whoa.
But you see, it's not me, it's not my family. In your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are crying. In your
Wow. Wow. I felt like a spring of tears and goosebumps just go across my body there. Whoa. She has so much emotion and understanding this idea of it's in your head that they're fighting, that I think there's a feeling here of this violence isn't on your doorstep. So, is it real? Is it in your head? This is so disturbing too, seeing the kids with the swords, especially as a new mom of a 15-month-old now. Like I can't imagine. I can't imagine, I guess, is the horrible thing. I can't imagine this now. And that doesn't even come close to the horror that some families have experienced.
family. In your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are crying.
Whoa. In addition, the way that she says bombs twice in the lyrics, I think that these lyrics are brilliant. Of course, like we're talking about the bombing, but it has to be said twice because it feels almost unbelievable. I'm going to go back and talk about some of the really cool vocal technique that she's using to create some of these sounds. But I just have to say that this vocal technique feels so much lower in importance to me than the message that she's communicating. It's all about getting message across. The technique can help unlock a person's ability to let that message flow, though. So let's talk about it. Let's go back to here.
The violence
There's that quiet intensity.
Who are we mistaken? But you see, it's not me, it's not my family.
So already at the ends of notes, she's letting her voice break and go up to a higher register. This is essentially what a person does when they yodel. They're working in a lower register, meaning that the muscles that are functioning in the larynx to create a sound. So, right, you have your vocal folds that go wacka, wacka, wacka. And sometimes you have your thyroretinoid, which we'll sometimes shorten that to be TA. Sometimes that is more dominant. Sometimes the cricothyroids are more dominant in the sound. So we'll often talk about TA or CT dominant sound. And whichever one is more dominant will determine which vocal register a person is in. If they're in a lower register, you'll usually have a sound that is more condensed and heavy and maybe intense, though she demonstrated in the very first sound, which was quiet and CT dominant, that lighter sound, that you can have amazing intensity in that higher register. So what's happening is there's a little break, a little flip at the end of her notes here, where she's going from a lower, heavier sound to a lighter sound and really emphasizing that switch. A lot of people will avoid that switch. They'll try to smooth things out. A lot of classical technique aims to smooth those things out. But if you lean into it, sometimes it sounds like crying or weeping. And I think that's what she's meaning to do here. So let's go back a little bit. Notice it actually creep in kind of slowly and quietly at first.
Are we mistaken? But you see, it's not me. It's
Right there, it
not
already is
my
happening.
family. In your head, they are fighting.
And right there is really interesting because when she goes up to fight, she actually goes to a higher lightness. Oh, let's go back just a little bit.
In your head, they are fighting.
So she goes up, flips into a head voice essentially, and then comes back down to what some people will call a full chest voice. Some people will call that mixed. The point is heavier, lighter mechanism. So she flips into it and then does a flip directly right out of it. She's basically playing with these vocal registers back and forth to create more expression and more meaning behind her message.
In your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are crying.
It's really, truly like yodeling. I love the way she does it so smoothly there, so it sounds like a cry. It's really, it's just so expressive and unique at the same time. I don't think people cry in the same way ever. So having something that is so distinct and authentic to me as a part of a cry is really gorgeous.
In your head, they are crying. In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie.
Wow. I never realized that she added distortion. Again, in passing, this is also what good headphones can supply. Listening to that plethora of emotion she's got behind it. The distortion is it's powerful while being rather light at the same time. And then the way that she's flipping up so much, it feels so impassioned. Well, let's go back.
Zombie, what's in your head?
That's fascinating to me. This is a part that I've remarked upon before, is the way she just keeps playing with the word zombie and then goes essentially to create that yodel afterwards.
In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie.
And just so we're really, really super clear, she's continuing with that vocal flipping mechanism where it's going between a TA dominant and a CT dominant sound. And she's really specific with it. She's being very deliberate and accurate with the notes she's hitting on both the bottom and the top end, which is something you have to learn how to do and control. I'm guessing that was included some in her upbringing and the sound that she probably, I think there's a lot of Celtic music, I think so, around her when she was growing up. So I'm guessing that that comes from there, but it might just be something that she explored and practiced on her own. Gosh. I didn't know she played an instrument too until this moment, until first seeing her with a guitar in this video. That's pretty awesome. It's also gut-wrenching to see the kids playing with swords and violence here. I mean, I allow my 1-year-old to play with a foam shard blade because I love that fantasy series, but there's a very big distinction between growing up around war and knowing that it's going to be something very real for them, and cosplay and pretending that we're elves, right? A very, very big difference. And seeing them play with that and having that other gun in view, it's just, oh, that's heart-wrenching. Ugh.
Mother's breaking, heart is taken over.
Whoa. Gosh, her intensity in that quiet part is amazing. Even the way she does an offset, meaning the way she gets off of that note, you can see that there's a snarl in her lips in the music video here, but you can hear that sound. There's fury in the quiet.
Mother's breaking, heart is taken over.
Wow.
When the violence causes silence, we must be mistaken. It's the same old deed since 1916. In your head, they're still fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are dying.
Wow. I never understood how much emotion she had. Whoa. Well, and she's actually singing in a fairly limited range too, right? Again, I've said this on this channel before in many, many videos. You do not have to have a huge range to have a superb voice. It's all about the emotion, all about bringing that through your sound to another person. That is where great music is made. And this is great. Oh my gosh. I had no idea. Thank you to everyone who has been suggesting that I go back and analyze this because wow, this is amazing. I'm going to go back one more time. I'll probably pause a couple moments and talk about just incredibleness.
When the violence causes silence.
So this has got so much emotion behind it, but it's funneling through the same area of resonance, which is partly why her voice is cutting even when it's quiet. She has focus on her sound. She's focusing it really in this mask kind of region.
Taken over.
That's such an amazing sound.
The violence causes silence. We must be mistaken. It's the same old deed since 1916. In your head.
So I love the way she went from that much quieter, lighter sound and has been adding in more of that dense sound. Again, that has to do with that muscle balance. A lot of singers aren't aware of those muscles doing different things in their throat. There aren't many nerve endings down there that make us really feel that, but we can feel the way it shifts in the sound, and we can go for that sensation and say, instead of airy, I'm going to have something that feels more laser-like in the focus.
It's the same old team since 1916. In your head, they're still fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. In your head, they are dying. In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? Zombie, zombie, zombie.
Whoops, sorry, pause, involuntary finger spasm because it's like it's pulling on heartstrings. I wanted to talk a little bit about the sound that she's making here, but at the same time, I'm just having like overflowing emotion seeing the kids in their play fighting. She is not actually making a loud sound. I always had a perception of her before as really belting this part out. She's adding some distortion to it. I think that we've added some extras of her in the production, but she's not singing super, super loudly. I would be surprised, if she's sang without a mic, it would honestly feel like a very medium kind of volume, I think, at this point. And that's good. It's really, really healthy. It can be good to sing loud with lots and lots of endurance you've built up, but you don't have to do that. In fact, it can even be healthier long term if you never give 100%, if you're always giving 80%. And then you build that up with the instrumental bass behind and adding more layers, adding some distortion, adding some focus in the sound. It's more about the tone and the feel of everything else around, accompanied by some in the voice, but that whole feeling together is what gives us that really heavy overall timbre of the chorus. Oh, I never noticed that before. She actually does a little bit of a bleeding vibrato, meaning she's essentially not having the standard sort of Western vibrato that tends to be more periodic relaxation of muscles, but there's sort of an extra layer of like air puffs that are happening with that bleeding vibrato, a little extra glottal attack. Right there. Interesting. Wow. This music video is so effective. Just shout out to the team that put this together. Wow. It's seeing even moments where she has her head, putting her hands around it, like there's a huge headache. These kids, this mixture of innocence and violence is just shocking. Tons of imagery everywhere that cuts straight through me. There's that loss again in the instrumental sound. Oh my gosh. Like high floodgates. Wow. The direction of the kid and the smell screaming. Oh my gosh. Wow, I had no idea, guys. This is amazing and really heartbreaking. Whoa. Oh my gosh. I am drinking some tea because you guys were completely correct. I did need to go back and analyze this, and it was shaking. It is, I am, I feel drenched with just emotion pouring out. Oh my gosh. What an incredible music video and song. And thank you so much for suggesting it from the bottom of my heart. I have grown hugely in appreciation for the Cranberries and this song. So cheers to all of you. Thank you so much. If you want some really more emotional breakdowns and analysis, check out this playlist over here. And may you, like me, fall more in love with music every day.